10 plants you should never grow next to your tomatoes. If you want your tomatoes to really thrive, there are a few smart moves you can make early on. Picking disease-resistant varieties, making sure they get plenty of sunlight, and watering them regularly are all great ways to set them up for success. But here's something a lot of people forget. It's not just where you plant your tomatoes that matters. It's also what you plant next to them. Some plants make great neighbors for tomatoes, helping them grow strong and healthy. Others? Not so much. To help you out, we've rounded up a list of plants you should keep far away from your tomatoes. These garden combos just don't get along, and planting them too close could actually slow down or mess up your tomatoes' growth. Let's take a look at what to avoid. First, pole beans. Pole beans and tomatoes both have climbing habits, and that's part of the problem. When beans scramble up the same trellis or nearby stakes, they cast shade over tomato foliage, reducing photosynthesis and fruit ripening. Both crops are also heavy feeders of soil nitrogen and potassium. Grown together, they compete fiercely for these nutrients, often leaving your tomatoes undernourished and prone to blossom end rot. Second, eggplant. Tomatoes and eggplants are cousins in the nightshade family, which means they share many of the same diseases, particularly verticillium and early blight. Planting them side by side makes it easy for fungal spores and pests like aphids or tomato hornworms to hop from one host to the next, turning your garden into a disease free-for-all. They also compete for similar soil nutrients, so give them separate beds. 3. Potatoes. Another nightshade to avoid? Potatoes and tomatoes battle over the same pests: Colorado potato beetles, aphids, and diseases, late blight, meaning one infected patch can quickly decimate both crop. Potatoes also produce solanine, which can linger in the soil and irritate tomato roots, further hindering growth. Fourth, corn. Tall, fast-growing corn stalks cast long shadows that shade out your tomato plants, cutting down on the sunlight tomatoes need for sugar production and ripe fruit. They also share pests like corn earworms and tomato hornworms, creating a hotspot for infestations if planted too close together. 5. Brassicas, like cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. Brassicas are heavy feeders, meaning they demand lots of nitrogen and other nutrients, exactly what tomatoes also crave. Planting them near each other sets up a tug-of-war for soil resources, often leading to smaller heads of broccoli and fewer home-run-sized tomatoes. Plus, brassicas exude chemicals that can inhibit tomato root development in tight spaces. Sixth, fennel. Fennel produces allelopathic compounds, natural chemicals that inhibit the growth of many nearby plants, including tomatoes. Even a few inches of root overlap can stunt your tomatoes' foliage and fruit set, making fennel a garden bully you'll want to isolate. 7. Dill, once mature. Young dill seedlings won't hurt tomatoes, but mature dill plants develop deep root systems and an upright habit that can crowd out tomato roots and block light. Beyond shading, dill can emit volatile oils that confuse pollinators, reducing fruit set in nearby tomatoes. 8. Sunflowers. Sunflowers act like living shade trees. Their height and broad leaves cast dense shade that deprives tomatoes of sunlight, leading to leggy vines and fewer blooms. They also host aphids and other sapsuckers that can spill over into your tomato patch. 9. Walnut trees. Walnut trees, especially black walnuts, release juglone, a powerful natural toxin, into the surrounding soil. Juglone can cause wilting, leaf yellowing, and root death in tomatoes planted even 30 feet away. If you have walnuts on your property, avoid planting tomatoes in their radius altogether. 10. Sweet potatoes. Though low-growing, sweet potatoes aggressively spread vines and roots that compete for space, moisture, and nutrients in the soil profile. This trailing habit can smother young tomato plants and reduce airflow, increasing the risk of fungal diseases. Before you go, I've got to ask, have you ever discovered 2 plants that should never share a bed? Drop your experience in the comments and let's learn from each other.